Well, everyone, with the main characters for my stop-motion animation series now all redone, one of the main antagonists is now on the way, so an extinction event will soon be heading our dinosaurs' way, I do say. On this YouTube video today, I'm happy to say the plague of madness is spreading once again, you might say, because a very large argentinosaurus is now stomping our way. And as I make this giant today, I'll be giving you all a rough idea, I say, on the upcoming stop-motion animation video series soon heading your way. With something far worse heading our dinosaurs' way, I do say. The asteroid that killed the dinosaurs might seem very merciful in comparison, you might say, because I have something far worse than the KPG Extinction planned out, so hear me out. Because I'm sure without a doubt, you don't want to miss out. So I'm not too sure what I want to name this stop-motion animation series just yet, but I was thinking somewhere along the lines of Giant Kaiju Dinosaur Extinction. Or perhaps the clay Jurassic World Dinosaur Extinction. But nothing is exactly set in stone just yet, pun intended. Fossil joke for all of those who may have missed it. But I'm open to suggestions from you, the viewers. So if you have any recommendations for the name of this stop-motion animation series, and or perhaps ideas you would like to see in this series, leave your comments below. Now, I'm sure some of you with the name suggestions that I've given already have kind of figured out what the plan is already for this stop-motion series. Now, I'm going to do my best to explain without too many spoilers. So I do apologize if I'm a bit vague at times. But this zombie argentinosaurus is going to be one of the main antagonists, along with a kaiju invader. The main protagonists will be T.Rex Rexy, Asset 87, or Jurassic Park 3's Spinosaurus, and Dominion's Giganotosaurus. Plus some help from the king of the monsters, aka Godzilla, who I plan on having show up after the plague of madness has spread. So yes, I plan on having multiple zombie dinosaurs, and possibly kaijus as well. Now the plan is to have Godzilla come in to be the protector of the dinosaurs in hopes of preventing an extinction event. Now I'm still on the fence as to whether or not I should make a Godzillasaurus, which is the dinosaur interpretation of the king of the monsters. And I might have some time-traveling humans who go back to the late Cretaceous period to basically make Godzilla, to prevent this threat of Earth being essentially terraformed. Because the second antagonist will be, arguably, the second king, otherwise known as King Ghidorah. Now at first, this may seem like an odd matchup, to have a zombie sauropod dinosaur paired with a three-headed space dragon, but this will make far more sense shortly. The idea for this story is very similar to Toho's movie from 1998, called The Rebirth of Mothra, which will be the main source of inspiration for this project. However, I do plan on doing things a bit differently. In the Toho film, King Ghidorah goes back in time to replenish itself, so that way he has enough to go back to the modern day era, or time period, to once again try and take over the world. So yes, that's right, what do you want to do tonight, Brain? The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world. It's Pinky and the Brain. Pinky and the Brain. Two are geniuses, one is insane. Sorry, Kevin. But what if King Ghidorah had more nefarious plans, such as to stay in that time frame of the dinosaurs to basically manipulate the course of evolution, to the point where our species no longer even existed. Now you see, if I was King Ghidorah and was having constant problems with pesky humans, and had the ability to travel back in time, this is probably the strategy I would adopt to basically, well, eliminate one part of the problem, the humans. Now, speaking of humans, this is essentially where the Plague of Madness comes into play. Due to King Ghidorah basically being from space and not from our planet, it would be more than likely that this beast would carry foreign diseases that our dinosaurs would not be adapted to, therefore causing major problems and decline in the species, which unfortunately is a concept that is based off reality. For example, early English settlers, when they were traveling and settling around the world, for lack of a better description, they unfortunately brought with them, well, plenty of diseases that unfortunately the local residents to these lands that they were going to didn't necessarily have the immune system to handle, due to the fact that they had no prior exposure to this type of sickness. So given the fact that King Ghidorah is essentially, well, a space dragon coming from a completely foreign planet, it is far more than likely, at least from a biological standpoint, that this monster would be carrying other little monsters with it. And given how resilient the King Ghidorah species seems to be as a whole, I would imagine these, well, sicknesses that are coming along with this monster are not going to be exactly very nice. So this is why I essentially decided to pair, well, this zombie sauropod or the Plague of Madness with the space dragon. And in my honest opinion, this would make a terrifying combination, given the fact that not only do you have this giant three-headed space dragon as a major problem, but it also brought along with it an even bigger problem arguably, one that you can't see or necessarily fight back, but will continue to spread relentlessly given how well the Plague of Madness works. Speaking of which, I probably should provide a quick explanation as to what the Plague of Madness exactly is for those who don't necessarily know. I did cover this topic several years ago with the original zombie sauropod, but that was many years ago, so let's refresh ourselves on that topic. Now, unfortunately, the true and/or real cause to the Plague of Madness springing up, there is no real, well, definitive answer for that. But essentially, it works like any other common zombie infection. So basically, it takes over the host's body entirely, turning it into a living dead creature, where this disease essentially just takes over the host's body. But unfortunately, that's just the beginning, because not only does it turn dinosaurs into a horrifying zombie-like creature, it effectively takes over their mind as well, because once the host is fully infected, its only trait of thought is to spread the disease. And this is the point where the Plague of Madness essentially takes over the entire body and mind, causing extreme outbursts in, well, mood and violence in hopes of spreading at any cost, even to the host that it's currently using. So essentially, the creature loses all sense of danger and/or self-preservation, therefore leading these creatures to stop at nothing but to spread the infection further, even if it means coming at the cost of destroying the current host. Now, if I were to compare these symptoms to something in real life, it would essentially be, unfortunately, well, rabies, which from a technical standpoint isn't known to, well, say, spread to reptiles and/or dinosaurs in this case. That disease is unfortunately, well, a mammal problem for you and I, but rabies and the Plague of Madness seem to share a lot of similar traits. So hopefully that helped explain, well, the Plague of Madness to you briefly, as well as, well, putting more emphasis on how dangerous this disease truly is. So now I'm gonna go over some plans that I have for, well, the old Argentinosaurus, aka the original doll that I made many years ago. Now, given the fact that some people in my audience get a little attached to some of the characters I make, which is understandable, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into these things, I should probably kind of explain so there isn't necessarily as much worry about me destroying characters, essentially. Which is basically what's going to happen to, well, our original zombie dinosaur. Now, I won't be destroying things to a point where it's no longer repairable, but that particular model, or the first Argentinosaurus zombie, is going to probably receive a lot of, well, punishment. Basically, I plan on having, well, that doll more or less be the stunt double for this doll, meaning the small version is probably going to see the most punishment, therefore get the most abuse throughout the scenes where I'm going to be ripping off chunks and various other parts of it. And given the fact that I'm going to have, well, multiple variations of this character, it more or less kind of makes sense from a production standpoint, especially from a, well, film production standpoint, to essentially have more than one where you can basically punish and not have to worry about nearly as much. So my hat definitely goes off to a lot of you stunt guys out there, because, yeah, you don't really get enough credit. So essentially, that's going to be our stunt double dinosaur. And to be honest, I would also like to redo King Ghidorah at some point as well. But I'm going to admit, I'm not necessarily going to be doing that anytime soon, because I know for a fact a few of my viewers have made their own King Ghidorahs, and I'm sure they can understand this, that making that movie monster in particular is a bit of a nightmare. It is extremely difficult to make a massive, well, 3-headed space dragon. Mainly because it, well, has 3 identical heads, so therefore the sculpting time can be, well, a little ridiculous. It got to the point where I literally gave myself nightmares about King Ghidorah when I was making it. So I'm a tad bit hesitant on starting a King Ghidorah 2.0 just yet. Because it's not just honestly the fact that it has 3 heads that makes this project, or a King Ghidorah project, so difficult, it's more or less due to the size as well, because that character is easily the biggest in my entourage so far. And that clay character weighs in at approximately 11 pounds or more, stands to 18 to 16 inches tall, and has a 25.5 inch wingspan, so he is massive. And considering how small my old Argentinosaurus is, that's definitely not going to essentially pair very well, not only with that kaiju, but a lot of the current theropod dinosaurs that I have, so obviously we need a monster. So basically, that is a rough draft for the plans that I have concurrently for the stop-motion animation series. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you have any suggestions, I would definitely love to hear them. And if you just so happen to enjoy this video today, be sure to smash that like button as hard as Argentinosaurus today, I do say. Share with your dinosaur and kaiju-loving friends so they don't miss the upcoming stop-motion animation series. And be sure you have your post notifications turned on so you don't miss any of the daily shorts and or videos coming your way. And if you just so happen to be new here today, there's never been a better time to hit that subscribe button, I say. But it's time for the build rundown on the sauropod, I say. So the materials used to make the dinosaur today was a lot of aluminum armature wire, you might say, to essentially make this monstrous dinosaur today. Along with some tinfoil today to help us save on oven-baked clay, and a bit of plasticine clay to help everything stay. Then one might also say we added a few more details than normal to the skeleton, I say, due to the fact that we need a rib cage to basically be exposed all day. But now that our zombie Argentinosaurus skeleton is all done, we'll be moving on to some plasticine sculpting fun. Along with some painting, I say, so our exposed bones don't look like oven-baked clay. And that's when this living dead dinosaur will be truly coming to life, you might say. So stay tuned, I say, for part 2 soon stomping your way. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the very end of the video. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the content, comment below what you think, share with your friends, and perhaps consider subscribing if any. And anyway, that's enough from me. Till next time, take it easy.